Look all around you, what do you see under the sky so blue? The earth is filled with a splendor and beauty, a wonderful place, it's true. Look all around you, so many beautiful birds to see. Our Belize is truly the land of the free, a wonderful place, it's true. We're gonna have a celebration to celebrate the earth. We're gonna have a celebration for the planet of our birth. Look all around you, what do you see under the sky so blue?
You see,
The earth is filled with a splendor and beauty, a wonderful place, it's true. Look all around you, so many beautiful birds to see. Our Belize is truly the land of the free, a wonderful place to be.
We're here today to celebrate Earth's Day with the Corozal community. And the theme, Earth Day, is environmental and climate literacy. And I think that it's well spent in that we have boys and girls, ladies, gentlemen in this place to celebrate Earth's Day with the Corozal community.
We thank you for Belize, our jewel, our country, with so much in it, our lagoons and keys and reef. But Lord, so often we, your children, make a mess of it.
we must begin to make that attitude adjustment if we are to have our children enjoy the environment that we are enjoying today.
We have a lot of coastal development happening as we speak, and development is also bringing along the destruction of the mangrove habitat. We are trying to promote a sustainable development.
As long as we keep the mangroves intact, I think we'll have an incredible effect on climate change.
There's mangrove being cut, and because of the mangrove being cut, the area that was once used as beach can no longer be used as beach.
Climate change is when the world gets warmer and then the North Pole and the South Pole ice is going to melt and it's going to make a world catastrophe.
One of my favorite Native American proverbs said, "We are not inheriting our environment from our ancestors, we are merely borrowing from our children."
The government and people of Belize and the National Climate Change Office take this opportunity to thank the government of Japan and UNDP to assist us in addressing climate change in our communities.
All right, happy Earth Day, everybody.
We arrived into Belize yesterday from Barbados. We were on a project called the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership Project, which functions in 8 Caribbean countries, and Belize is one of those countries. We are in partnership with the National Climate Change Office, and we're here with Miss Anne in a green shirt. Miss Anne will share a bit with you later. And I want to tell you a bit, like I said, a bit about the project, how it functions here in Belize. There are 3 parts to the project. The first part is policy, so helping Belize to formulate agreements, the way forward for how they will tackle climate change. The second component is a very practical component. It is a pilot project, a very hands-on project that has been developed with and for Belize, and it is focused on agriculture and water resources management. And the third component, which is my favorite and which I am personally vested in, is communications. So helping each of the countries, and in this instance Belize, we started with some research. And coming out of that research, today we're launching a campaign which we call Feel the Change. The banner to your left has come out of what you have said you thought your primary concern in Corozal was, and that relates to the mangroves. And that was developed out of your input. Just encouraging community members to help maintain the mangroves. The reusable shopping bags that some of you would have already received and that we'll give out over the course of the time that we're here is encouraging you to use less plastic bags. When you go to the grocery store, opt to take that bag with you and put your groceries in there. And that can be your small part in helping to, to mitigate the effects of climate change. Also, the solar-powered lantern. If we reduce how much energy we're using, that also helps the environment. If you flip it over, for those of you who have one, there's a small solar panel on the back. If that is placed in the direct sunlight, you can have light from that for up to 12 hours. And you can also reduce your electricity bills and whatnot. So we're really encouraging you to do whatever small part you can to help climate change. And we're really happy to be here with you today. And thank you very much for allowing us to come and share with you.
So we're here just to chat a little about climate change. We have some really cool prizes. If you pay attention, you listen, you'll be able to answer questions and win some really cool prizes. And then we say goodbye, and you can also join us walking through the community talking to people. Okay?
So I believe this launch is timely in Southside Belize. The start of this campaign started in Corazal. And this campaign aims to promote awareness among our communities, to empower each one of you with more knowledge about climate change. We see coastal erosion. Many of our beaches are being lost. We are also having mortalities in our coral reef because of the high sea surface temperature. And we know that the coral reef is very important for our fishing industry. And I want to speak to the youths especially. You can tell your own climate story, both in a fresh and unusual way. Let's play our part and protect the climate. Thank you.
On behalf of the Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and my colleagues, councillors, management and staff from the Belize City Council, we say thank you to our new friends, our newfound friends from Barbados, folks from Japan. Nissan is no stranger to myself, or to Belize City. Thanks to all who helped to make the event a huge success. Thanks to Wesley College, thanks to your dean, your principal, teachers, thank you, welcome students, especially the community. Just to recap what is happening out here in this canal, this beautiful canal, when the wind shifts, you get the smell, correct? Smells awful. Well, the Belize City Council, along with representatives from the Department of the Environment and the Hydrology Unit, we did an assessment from the area behind Mike's Club, which is Regent Street West, all the way up to Z-Town, from Conchel Bay to Cott Avenue, North and South Creek to Cott Avenue, and the remaining distance to the Caribbean Sea along Yarborough here. What was found is that there's 3.5 feet of silt built up in the canals that needs to be removed. The total amount of trucks that will be needed to remove this amount of silt is 2,283 loads of material that needs to be excavated and removed from within this area. How we deal with garbage and trash compounding the problem can be seen all along the length and breadth of the canals. So we take this opportunity to advise residents to put garbage in its proper place, please. So there is where we are at. Again, it's more than an honor and privilege to be a part of the team looking at and dealing with climate change issues as it affects Belize City, and how we mitigate against it, and how we change the culture by assisting all the nations who have signed on to the Paris Agreement to reduce carbon emissions by 2% degrees Celsius. As an additional information, you can look forward down the road to seeing electric buses on our streets in the near future, as we seek again to once again complement the fight against climate change. So I say thank you, welcome to the residents and community from the Yarborough area, especially Miss West Bay and all those from Tot Bay. Thank you.
I am with the United Nations Development Program, and our office is in Barbados, and we're responsible for Barbados and Eastern Caribbean. Behind you is Sherry, and she's my colleague, And we both work on a project called the Japan Caribbean Climate Change Partnership Project. I'm going to say that one more time. The Japan Caribbean Climate Change Partnership Project. And we work in 8 countries, and Belize is one of those countries. And our work, like our name suggests, surrounds climate change. And part of the reason why you're here today is because a part of that work relates to us communicating about climate change, communicating to youth, to communities who are vulnerable, to community members. And Ms. Shirlene here is a consultant on the project, and you are probably familiar with her. She's done a fantastic job of going into communities, asking you what your concerns are regarding climate change, asking you what you know about climate change and what behaviors you utilize. What things do you do that can help reduce climate change impacts? Or what things do you do that make the situation worse? Because if we were truthful, we would admit we do some things. We litter, we don't use electricity in a way that's beneficial. And we've taken the research that she's done and crafted a communications campaign. And that's why you're here today. Today is a part of the launch of that campaign, which we've called Feel the Change. Miss Anne has already spoken about that as well. You are feeling the difference. You're feeling how hot it is. You're seeing that the weather patterns have changed. You're seeing the differences in your canal. And we're just happy to be able to support you in this way in addressing the climate change concerns that you have.
Shopping bag, reusable shopping bags.
Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
Instead of the plastic bags, so we can help the environment. Use that instead. Be a part of the change.
Okay, thank you.
Okay
then.
Climate change needed in Belize.
Are you feeling the climate change?